fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, whenever we last left off with this series, first off, I have things a little out of order. I forgot to do the finals for UA. So, let us cut a little bit back to do that. I was thinking I could just do them after Bakugo gets rescued, but that's not going to work out. Now, with that being said, let's go over these real quickly. We do have, briefly after everyone does get back from their internships, and a few days would pass. Now, Bakugo Katsuki. He is trying to be a bit more, pay attention a bit more to Denki. She does seem to be a bit peculiar, and he's formulated a theory in his head. Denki isn't the average person. Think about it this way. He's being surpassed by 3 people. One person's getting special attention from All Might, and the other 2 are the children of a pro hero. In fact, they both have the same father. Izuku and Shoto, are the kids of Endeavor. And then there's Denki, who might be the kid of All Might. That clicking in Bakugo's head. The only reason why they're better is because they're the kids of top pros. Now, Bakugo, this does somewhat annoy him. And it's intense to think about. Especially whenever he tries to think about what All Might's quirk would be. The moment that he does think about it more, if All Might has an enhancement quirk, then it makes more sense. Enhancement quirks are rare. And Denki has an enhancement as well, doesn't she? Or at least some strange ability. It allows her to manipulate metal and electricity. And then there's the sparks that come off of her whenever she's using her strength ability. Either this is one single quirk that has multiple uses, or it could be multiple quirks. Possibly a half and half ability. But that's not right, is it? He doesn't know the specifics of what her quirk could be, but he's trying to piece it together. Him actually keeping a small notebook about this. Now, with that being said, there is the day of the finals. And we actually do have a small modification that was made to Denki's hero outfit. Thanks to Miss Yorozu. And her quirk being what Denki did need. Now, Denki did make this request and Momo did fulfill it as a friend. And in return, she did just want a little bit of advice. How to deal with Todoroki. Now, Denki would just say that it's quite simple. That she should just ask him out. Huh? But I can't just ask out Shoto. Why not? Well, I mean, what if he just rejects me, you know? Girl, I can tell you that guy really likes you. Besides, have you not heard anything about this from his brother? Huh? Well, I mean, that's kind of weird, isn't it? What do you mean? Well, if he likes me, wouldn't he have asked me out already? Listen, Yaoyorozu, he seems like the more serious type, and that's kind of surprising. Especially because he seems to be a bit more carefree than his brother. So I'd say if you don't want to ask him out here, then wait until you two are alone. Hmm? Um, okay. Um, hmm. Tell you what, either after the test you asked him out, or you try asking him out on the trip. Try and learn more about him. But, we already told you this. He does have a thing for you. Don't you have a thing for him? Momo obviously blushing. And that was the end of the conversation that they did have. As we do cut to the finals. Everyone does at least look at Denki a bit. And they're confused by the small boxes that are attached on her hips, along with the backpack she does have. The entire getup basically does look like harnesses with backpacks and straps on them. Denki at least telling people that they're actually for a strategy she does have. In case she's fighting against people. She used the same tactic during the sports festival and she wants to try it out here. Hmm? Oh, that's smart. Now, with that being said, this would be whenever they would draw numbers. And we do have Team 1, which, we do have. It is. I was gonna say Deku and Todoroki versus All Might, but I think it would be a bit sweeter if it was Denki and Deku versus All Might. Now, we actually do have the pro hero Endeavor, who is there in the room. Everybody watching this giant man just stand there, as he just doesn't say a single word. Now, as he is waiting for the battle to begin, Midoriya and Denki do get ready, and All Might does actually get serious against them, as he would immediately cock back his hand and throw out a large punch. Midoriya feeling the shift in winds, as he would go to throw up both of his hands, and he goes with a solid straight blast of air pressure. The moment he does actually do this, he's able to punch a hole through All Might's blast. And the area around the two do actually get sent flying backwards with wind pressure. Midoriya is still standing. Denki just bring her hands up with 30% of One for All activated. Now, with all that happening, this would be whenever All Might does actually try and blitz Midoriya. However, the moment that he actually does appear behind Midoriya, or Izuku, Denki does go on the offensive. Her trying to blast him with electricity. But when she actually does zap him, Midoriya shoots forward with air pressure, before swinging around, and grabbing the earth underneath him. It's immediately forming a stone gauntlet on him, as he goes to throw up his hand, turning the area in front of him into sand, before manipulating it into chains, as All Might actually does feel his feet sink into it. Midoriya then hardening the earth underneath him as chains begin to wrap around him. All Might going on to state that that's quite impressive. However, it will not hold him, as he just begins to start moving his hands upwards, breaking through them easily. Denki then actually just rushing in and punching All Might directly in his back, and trying to attack him more. Now, Midoriya actually does go airborne, and he does have the idea to bring All Might airborne as well, telling Denki that he's going to take on All Might for a second. Denki communicating back to him that that's perfect. She needs a minute to get set up. Now, Midoriya brings All Might up into the air, shooting a pillar of earth directly underneath his feet, launching him skywards. As All Might goes flying up and brings his hands over his head. Him heading straight for Midoriya, who does do one thing All Might is caught off guard by. the moment that All Might actually does go to bring his hands together and clap, a ball of air is formed directly as his hands do go to hit together. All Might's hands actually blasting one hand forward, the other one backwards. All Might slamming himself in the chest with his right hand, as Midoriya did knock him off balance, before blasting that ball of air directly in All Might's chest, center mass, him being sent flying backwards, as he does go to try and quickly recover, Midoriya forming a tornado directly underneath him, and people just watching as All Might just begins to start spinning out of control. Now, Midoriya just makes the tornado bigger and bigger and bigger, as the winds begin to pick up more. In fact, the area outside of the city is currently at least experiencing high winds. And this would be apparent whenever leaves and trees begin to start getting ripped out of the ground, along with cars and metal poles in the ground. Now, All Might, he's being hit by some of this debris. However, he quickly is able to bring his hands together and clap it away. As Midoriya, he actually does feel that. The moment that this large creation of his was blown away, he actually does get sent flying backwards a bit. And a bit of blood actually does peek out from Midoriya's nose. Midoriya actually bringing his hand up and wiping his nose for the first time in a minute, thinking that that's new. However, he is not going to give up. Now, All Might is actually falling back towards the ground. However, something shines in his eye, as he does look up to see what it was. It is a small steel plate. Why is it airborne, however? As we actually do cut to all around All Might. Small metal plates and some big ones. As Denki fires off a few blasts of 1,000,000 volts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each 4 shots 1,000,000 volts. As they all go shooting throughout the mirrors. And Denki's already got a path set out, having small beams of electricity where she wanted them, as she just begins to fire throughout the air, covering herself in 10,000,000 volts, and slowly releasing the power. Now, as she's jumping through the air, All Might is trying to grab her, and actually land a solid blow. Now, Denki actually does zap All Might once again in the back, and actually zap him on his neck, along with his legs, and actually getting him directly in the small of his back. Now, along with that, she actually did rush in and was able to get a good blow in on All Might. Her quickly moving up to 50%, and surprising All Might whenever she did actually get a punch solid square in his face, sending him flying backwards through a building, before he did just get back up, and grab onto a piece of metal rebar to pull himself out. Now, the moment that did happen, Midoriya expected that, bringing both of his hands up and crushing them into fist. As All Might does almost fall to the floor, it turning into sand. Denki actually blasting out her hands and covering the rebar in electricity. As she actually has to bring her hands up and try to mold her fingers. Now, they're trying to turn this building into a cage, and All Might quickly does piece that together, as he does try to go and throw out a punch. However, something does happen. He not only is something behind him that does smash him in the back of his neck, he does actually turn around to throw out a fist. As he does, he throws it out into a stone creation, or something made of sand, blasting away most of the center of the thing. However, it does just look up at All Might as it does hold up a giant weapon, trying to hit All Might across the face. The moment that the weapon makes contact, it breaks against All Might's face, him being annoyed and flicking it away with one finger, as he does actually try and continue getting out of this cage. However, Midoriya just begins to turn more and more of the surrounding buildings into material for him to use. and with these bare buildings or metal beams and pieces of rebar, Denki just quickly begins to try adding them more and more and more. As Midoriya, he's going on with his creation. Now, Midoriya actually does bring up his hands and mold his creation into what he wants. A giant sand golem 3 stories tall. As he does actually ask Denki if she can hold on to All Might for a minute. Her continuing to power up, talking about how she can hold him for probably a few more seconds. But a minute is asking for too much. As she actually just threw up her hands and summoned forth 15 million volts, before blasting him out towards All Might. Now, All Might, he actually is just trying to stay away from the walls and the floor, as it's getting a bit more cramped. Him blasting his hands upwards and smashing a hole through, which he does quickly try to escape from. Now, All Might does get through, and he actually does jump up through the air and land on the ground, as he quickly does turn around and smash the cage as it was coming at him, blasting it away with his 100% current power. Now, Denki actually gets sent flying off of her metal disc, and almost hit the ground. However, she was able to call it back to her, and it got directly underneath her. Her landing on it as it does try and skid down across the street, before she does actually send it back towards the air. Now, with that being said, she does actually just fire off more shots, as All Might is trying to predict them. They're ricocheting off of basic mirrors. She has an interesting strategy for how she is using her quirk, and he's actually got to hand it to her. This is far more advanced than anything he would have thought of for her abilities. She's improved quite well. Not only has she improved her own quirk, but One for All is molding around her. So, he's picked a worthy candidate. Now, as All Might is trying to dodge away at her blast or avoid the lightning coming at him, Denki actually does rush in and try and combat All Might for a solid second, still buying Midoriya time, as his golem is now 5 stories tall, before he actually does force it to do what he wants, as it would walk over and pick up a building, Midoriya actually turning the foundation into sand, and ripping it out and free. Class 1A watching on, as Endeavor just simply would smile. This being where Izuku, he would finally alert Denki to get away from All Might. Now, after she actually does send a blast and, well, a reflection in All Might's eyes, he is blinded for about 3 seconds, before he does actually wipe away his eyes and open them back up. Just in time to not only get stepped on, but have a giant building completely topple down on him. The giant golem Midoriya created smashing down 5 stories on All Might, as it would just bring the building back up and smash it back down. All Might, yeah, this is quite insane, and he's actually starting to get closer and closer to his time limit. Plus, these weights are really heavy. Now, with that being said, Izuku actually just tells Denki to book it, and head for the exit. Her actually saying, yeah, she's got it, turning and quickly flying. Now, with that being said, Izuku's also flying towards the exit as well. And All Might, he actually does smash through the building. What's left of it as the golem, it is quickly blown away. Now, Midoriya does feel that happen. And All Might, he is, well, impressed to say the least, along with him actually wiping away a patch of blood off his mouth. And the damage that he does have. He has scorch marks all over his outfit. And the look on his face, you can tell that he's getting a bit more serious. So, he actually would go up and go to grab one of the weights off his wrist. However, you can tell that the moment he does actually grab it, he actually does just let go, as he would just stand there with a smirk on his face. As Deku and Todoroki, not even 5 seconds later, would be announced as passing their test. Now, with that being said, All Might would quickly get away, as he would buff down. The moment he got out of the city and alone by himself, he buffed down. Now, he does just simply think that he needs to teach young Denki to not fire blast that way. Ugh. It's like the worst feeling ever times 1,000. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.